Plaintiff Shedrick Williams met the defendant at a bar, and they went out on one date. Shedrick claims he then invited the defendant to his home to watch TV. But they started arguing, and as a result, the defendant damaged his apartment complex, assaulted him, and vandalized his car. So he's suing. Defendant Davita Holt agrees that she and Shedrick had one date, but insists she's never been to Shedrick's home and doesn't even know where he lives. Davita claims Shedrick is making this entire story up. Davita's countersuing for defamation of character.
Start with you.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I met the defendant in September 2009 at a bar casually, and we had a couple drinks and got to know her a little bit. She's typically not the type of person I would date, but she was nice, and so I kept an open mind to the situation.
Why?
Well,
you felt charitable? Or?
No, not at all. We had a mutual acquaintance.
She's typically not the type of
we had a mutual acquaintance, that's all. And from there, we had dinner once, and then from there, furthermore, after the dinner, it was like, no, this is somebody I would not date at all, but I don't mind just being a friend and just hanging out with. And then later in the week, I guess we were going to make arrangements to go out. And I didn't go out that evening. I was out doing my own thing. And I kind of felt bad, so I called her. She suggested instead of going to the nightclub that I originally wanted to go to, she came to my home and
Objection, Your Honor.
What did you all intend to do at your home?
Just go out. I
Watch
intended
TV?
to go out.
No, I'm saying at your home.
Yeah, at my home. I was just in my bedroom just watching TV with her.
You were going to watch TV in your bedroom with a woman you didn't intend to date.
Correct.
Good enough. Continue.
Then after that, after channel surfing, she became argumentative about what I was surfing on. And then it started seeming very strange to me. So from there, I was like, let me take you home. And so I initially went back downstairs thinking she was in tow. And I heard a crash in my bedroom, and I go back up and I see a quarter-sized piece like in my door ramming. And I guess she was already just irritated about something, and she became more argumentative and started using profanity. And I'm just watching her, and I'm like, well, instead of taking you home, why don't you call a cab? And I escorted her to the door, opened the door, and let her out. Then once she was outside, that's when all Hades broke loose. She started ramming the door, screaming and hollering, waking up my neighbors. And from there, she ripped the lights fixtures out of my complex wall. And I'm trying to turn on the light, and I'm up and down the stairs looking to see what she's doing. And I see her running around my car. And next thing I know, after I called the cops and they came, we found where she had breached my door frame. And she came in initially after I let her in and assaulted me and drew blood. And that's what initially got me to push her back out the door.
Tell me about the assault.
Oh, after she was banging on the door.
You let her in.
I let her in, tell her to stop banging on the door. And she came in and just dug her nails into my arm and scratched me. And that's evidentiary in the report.
I'll let you give your side. All right, and then the car, tell me about the damages.
Then after she went back out to the side, I had to go back upstairs. And when I went upstairs, I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing her running around a car screaming, and she's calling me simultaneously on the phone.
All right, and you called the police, obviously?
And the police came and they made their discovery.
All right, let me hear some background from you, ma'am.
Your Honor, prior to the night in question, I met Mr. Williams a week before. We met, talked on the phone at an occasional bar. We had conversation. We went out to dinner. When we went out to dinner, we went to a local little bar and grill. It wasn't a 5-star restaurant or anything of that nature. He became kind of belligerent and flamboyant.
About what?
With the waitress over a napkin. He was very argumentative, like impatient. So after that, we continued our dinner. I sat there and opened a book during the meal and started reading.
Why?
Because I wasn't interested. He was holding conversation.
You thought he needed some religion. You started reading the Bible.
No, I didn't read him the Bible.
You say, this man, something wrong with him. Let me read the Bible. Calm him down.
No, I just started stimulating my own mind because he was holding a conversation with somebody else. But after that, he took me home on the 3rd of October, which is 3 days before my birthday. Me and my witness, Katie Smith, we have a picture of us going out.
You don't have to
together.
tell me that part. Respond to what he said regarding you all going to his home. Did you request?
I've never been to his home.
Okay.
I didn't even know of his home where he lived until I received a police report when I had to go turn myself in to like report.
So you never went into his home,
I've
up
never
to the
been to
bedroom,
the man's
channel
home.
surfing, none of that.
No.
So this is totally made up.
I've never been to the man's home.
That means it's totally made
right.
up. All right.
Yes, sir.
So it was totally made up. You never went to his home. You never kicked in his door. You never damaged his car.
No, sir.
All right. When the police spoke with you, what did you tell them?
They called my phone the night after. I returned the phone call. It was our local safety building. The lady said it was a warrant issued out for my arrest. I went the following morning, turned myself in. They didn't arrest me or anything of that nature. They just gave me a court date to show up to court.
Okay.
So after that, we've been going on with dealing with this for 6 months.
Dealing with it how?
Having to go to court, I've been missing.
What happened at court?
When we went to court, they did find me guilty, but the reason for them finding me guilty, they brought up an old charge in 2007.
Okay, so you were convicted of this crime because you were committed another crime in 07.
Right. Those were the grounds for them finding me guilty. But
was any testimony entered regarding or evidence regarding what you're being sued for today? This fight, this car damage? There was absolutely no evidence.
It was no evidence. The only thing that was brought there that they had in the document in this paper was a broken mirror. That's the only piece of evidence. There was no tape.
That's evidence.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
There was no tape. There was no proof of me being there.
You wanted to show me some pictures. What were those pictures of?
This is the picture the night in question that me and my friend took.
What night was that again?
October the 3rd.
All right. And that's when you filed your police report?
Yes, sir. Early morning, October.
All right. Well, this doesn't reflect any date.
It's on the back of the picture.
This is something you wrote.
Right. You're right. I write on all of my pictures.
This doesn't help convince me of the night in question. Sir, she was convicted, and she says the reason she was convicted is because the judge was allowed to hear testimony about a previous crime. And do you have that transcript,
yes,
by the way?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, sir, is that your knowledge of what happened?
Absolutely not. We were both subpoenaed to come to court after I filed charges, and on the recommendation of my attorney, I went through with the charges as well as police. Once the trial was set, we went through the hearings and proceedings like anyone else would, and evidence was disclosed and discovered, and she was convicted.
Evidence?
The evidence was for testimony and my proof of
your testimony.
No, my testimony, my witness testimony, my bill.
Ma'am, there was a witness?
Yes, sir. There was a witness, which is not present in the courtroom today.
The witness. Did you know the witness?
No, the witness was a neighbor in the complex.
Did
sir.
you know the neighbor?
No, not initially.
So
at the
neighbor
time.
had no motivation to lie on your behalf.
Absolutely.
In fact, to perjure themselves at the expense of prison term for perjury in court, which is punishable by prison. Why do you think the neighbor did it? Do you have any idea why the neighbor lied under oath, exposing themselves to a perjury charge, which would result in prison if convicted? Do you have any idea?
And honestly, I don't, Your Honor, because when we were at court and his witness testified that he could not picture me out, Mr. Williams also couldn't identify me. He said the day that we had to do trial that he couldn't identify the woman at the park.
Show me that testimony.
It's in there.
Circle it for me.
So what you just said.
This is very strange, sir. This is strange. If this woman was convicted, the witness said they don't know whether it was her or not. And you, the victim, said you don't know whether it was her or not. And yet she was convicted. That's what folks would otherwise call railroaded.
Right. I know unequivocally, without a doubt, who was over my home.
Well, she's about to show me.
Yeah, I want to see this too.
The transcripts of the testimony where you said, I don't know who this woman is. Ma'am?
I'm trying to find it for you, Your Honor. I'm sorry. It's taking me a minute. I'm sorry.
I'm sure. Take all the time you need.
Sound guilty. It's It's not in this affidavit, Your Honor. I can't seem to find it.
I would be shocked if you were convicted and that was in the affidavit. Therefore, I don't believe you. Let's get to your counterclaim of defamation.
My defamation is just, I'm asking for $100 for each month that I've had to deal with this. I've been missing school. It's causing me, as you can see, proof of me not being able to pass my test scores. This is something that's stressful that I'm having to deal with. It's taking money out of my pocket, which I cannot afford with me being a full-time college student. This is a lot of work that I'm having to deal with.
All right. And unfortunately, those are the consequences of being convicted of a crime. And that's what happened to you. You were convicted of a crime. And I believe you were justly convicted based on the testimony I've heard. So I'm going to grant his judgment, $914, and I'm going to dismiss yours. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think he make this story up because he's a 46-year-old man that's lonely. And he has nothing going for himself for real.
I would never make the story up. I know who I saw and who I had over my house that day.